And that is because we will be posting a recording of today's session on the GinnieMae website so that you are able to have the benefit of the question and answer session that will occur at the end of the presentation. Again, this is a delivery for our HECM issuers who are in wave 3. However, if you are an issuer who is other than a HECM issuer and you still want to participate in this event, you are more than welcome to stay with us. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the agenda. Okay, so in today's training, we're gonna, go over some of the objectives that we're trying to accomplish, give you an overview again of the portal, provide you a demonstration. It's not a live demonstration. However, we will be providing you a demonstration of different functions in the Access Management Console that our organization administrators can use to manage end user accounts for users in their organization. We're also going to give you a demonstration on how to access reports in the portal. And those reports will tell you a number of things about who is an active user and what functional roles that they have in MyGinnieMae. We'll direct you to some resources and then we will open it up for a Q&A. So if you have any questions, please note that we'll take time at the end to answer all of those questions. Next slide. So this again is the third training in the series, but the second targeting our organization administrators. Previously, we worked with you on how to onboard end users into the portal, create those accounts and assign those functional roles. Today's purpose is a bit different. Today, we're going to provide you guidance on how to review the status of an account access request. So if you've made the initial request for a functional role, but it has not yet been approved, how do you find out the status of that request? We're going to talk to you about how to manage account information for your end users, how you can update account details, whether it's business titles, phone numbers, those sorts of things. We're going to provide you some information on troubleshooting and where you go as an organization administrator to get help with these activities. And then, as I mentioned, we're going to provide you an overview of the reports that are available in the Access Management Console. The MyGinnieMae portal definitely provides you better insight into the users of the portal within your organizations and what access they have. So we're going to show you how to get to those reports. Next slide. So here again, just a quick overview. This is not new to you if you've been to any event that we've had on MyGinnieMae. This is our onboarding workflow. When you're creating a new user account as an organization administrator, you walk through that registration workflow to request and approve the creation of that account. And then there's an access workflow where you request and approve functional roles for that account. The activities that we're going to cover today, they're not going to cover the registration piece. We already talked to you about how to set up the accounts, but you will see some activities that fall in that access piece. Even after you've assigned functional roles, you have the opportunity to remove functional roles, add functional roles. You also have the ability to do other management activities with those user accounts. And that's what we're going to focus on today. So it's a different tile in the Access Management Console, and we'll show that to you here in just one moment. But I just wanted to remind you that what we're focusing on today is not about how to create a user account. It's how to manage that user account once it's been created. Next slide. So here's a reminder of what controls that you have as an organization administrator. There are several things that users can do on their own if they've forgotten their password or need to reset a password. If they want to register with the Oracle Mobile Authenticator to have that one-time PIN delivered to their smart device, they can do a lot of those things on their own. They can even update their phone number or their business title on their own in their own account attributes. But there's some things that they definitely need you for as their organization administrator. We already talked about, initiating registration invitations and creating those accounts. What we're going to talk about today, how you remove a functional role from an end user account. It's possible that you've given someone more access than they need. Maybe you assigned both the basic user functional role as well as the authorized signer functional role, which is unnecessary, and you want to remove that basic user functional role. You are able to do that. So we'll talk to you about how to remove a functional role. Maybe the person's business activities have changed or responsibilities have changed. They've moved to a new division and you need to remove their access to systems that they no longer need. We'll talk to you about how you can get that done. Maybe someone has gone on a leave of absence or is no longer with your organization and you need to disable or lock their account. We'll show you how you can do that. It's possible that the user has done something on their own, like not maintain current account status, and that their account has been locked by the system. We'll show you how to unlock those accounts or how to enable those accounts if they have not logged in within a 90-day period. We're going to talk to you about how to help them with resetting a password. We're also going to talk to you about how to help them update some account attributes. One in particular that's vitally important is if at the time your end user, when they were setting up their account and completing the new user registration form, if they did not have or add their RSA serial token number at that point in time, there are some steps that you as the organization administrator can take to add that token later. And so we'll talk to you about how you update those account attributes. Next slide. Okay, so as I mentioned, this is a different tile that you would go to than if you were creating an account. If you're setting up an account, you would go to your new user registration tile in the Access Management Console. Today, the activities that we're going to talk about fall within the user management tile. So again, when you're trying to manage an end user account, just know that the tile that you begin at is user management. Next slide. Again, as I mentioned, there are some reports in the system that are going to assist you with obtaining some information about when the accounts were created, what functional roles have been assigned, if the user's account is locked, those sorts of things. We have several custom and standard reports in the system that you're able to access. And if you go into the Access Management Console and from the top of the screen where it says links, you hit that drop down menu, it's going to open up an option called Security Reports. That's where all of the reports reside that are available to you. And we'll give you a quick demonstration of how to get there and what's available. Next slide. Okay, so now we're going to play for you a video demonstration of some of the features that we just discussed.
I'm sure everybody right now is actually as org admins. You have been actually setting up your users, giving them those functional roles they need, do the approvals, and waiting for us to do the finalization. So we're just going to give you an idea of what, of course, those are the 4 tiles that everybody would see. And as the teacher said, we'll be concentrated mostly on the user management section. So that's where we're going to do most of your managing your end users. So Tony, can we click on that box? First, we're going to, when we do get in, we're going to go in to look at some of the statuses that you might have noticed over your last 3 weeks, 4 weeks of actually getting your end users into the system. Once an access required is submitted, the system adds the functional roles to the user profile with a status of pending. And of course, the role is not provisioned to the user unless necessary approvals are completed. Of course, you have heard us said so many times, you add the role, a second org org admin has to go in and do the approval, then it has to come to us at BNY Mellon as the ops admin to do the finalization. So we're going to go down to the section that has the manage user permissions, and that's where you'll see these are the roles that were initially set up by the org admin, and we're just going to check through some of the statuses that you might see. We have a pending status. If there's a pending status there, that means that function role requested is submitted and awaiting org admin approval. Then you have an approved status. That's a functional role is approved and awaiting operation admin action. Then we have a finalized status. That means functional role request has been finalized by the by the ops administrator. That's a BNY Mellon. You have a confirmed status. The underlying role has been fully assigned to the users. So those are some of the roles that some of the statuses, I should say, that you'll see as part of your process. I notice we have another one on the system that says revoke, since we'll just talk about it, because you might have could have entered this by mistake. And you want to make sure that Wade Gale doesn't need this functional role, so you can actually go in as a org admin and revoke that role. And since I'm on this, I just want to say something. I've noticed over the couple of sessions or activity that we've been doing here at BNY Mellon as the ops admin, we notice that users tend to give the end user an authorized signer role and a basic user role. And if you don't need to actually give both. If you're an authorized signer, you don't need to actually get the basic user role, because all of those functionality are actually a part of the authorized signer. And so just want to let you know that, so you don't have to clutter your desktop with all those unnecessary functional roles if you don't need them. So that's just one of the things. One more thing we want to make sure you understand this process is also by clicking on by the role name. It also gives you the role display overlay. So it gives you an idea. You can track the information here. So it tells you display the name of the roles, give the request date, the requester, the approval date, the approver, the finalized date, the finalizer, and then the final thing is the status. So you can actually check this on your own to be sure that everything does show as confirmed. So you can do that for all the functional roles that were given to your end users. After that's done, you can actually close that. So you really want to concentrate, just make sure you do have the statuses right. If you see something pending, you definitely have to reach out to your next org admin and say, hey, you need to go in and do your due diligence on this so this role can be fully operational. So because of course Letitia had shown you the process flow. So there's certain things everybody has to touch something before it can be functional, before it can work for the end user. So you just want to make sure everybody gets into that. Okay. So now we're into the add the functional role. If an end user requires a new functional role, they may be done from the user management tile in the AMC. So can you just go down and see it? Right now, this is a section where it says request access. You should be able to go in there and click on that and go straight to setting up find those functional roles for that user and actually give that person the functional roles that's needed as part of their process to process their daily work. So you should be able to do that there from that screen. The picture that we're showing around does not give us access, but you should be able to. Toyi, do we have any user that we can show them that it just goes straight to that? And I'm putting you on the spot right now.
Let's see. Oh, I have another account we can use.
That one doesn't show it either.
Yes.
Okay, good. There, so right from that screen, you can click on Request Access. And what it does, it takes you right into, for you to do those functional request access. So you don't have to, if you're currently in this screen, you don't have to get out and go to that tile that says Access. So you just can go in and do it from right here. And then just a reminder, we're in UAT, so it takes a while before it spins and gets to that page. Cool, there it is. Now, as a org admin, you can go in and do your functional role selection for that user. So this is just another way of getting to that access tile, so you don't have to actually go out and click on the tile itself. Okay, the next thing we have to do is, it says remove a functional role. If an end user is no longer required access to a specific functional role, possibly because their business responsibility might have changed, organization admin are responsible to removing that role from the user account. This may be done within the management user permission section. We're going to go to Harry Wade and see, after looking through Harry Wade, we find out that Harry Wade does not need basic, he actually doesn't do loan delivery, none at all. But they gave him both, no, he does loan delivery, let me change that. He does loan delivery, and what I'd mentioned earlier, but he's not so we need to get rid of the basic user role. So we're going to, first we do the select, and then we do remove. And then we want to do, are you sure you want to remove this? Of course, it gives you, make sure that's what you want to do. And then once, if you agree, you click and confirm. And then, of course, it goes through its own little stuff behind the scenes so that information can. Toyi, does the org admin, the second one, need to approve this?
No. Once it's removed, it will be in revoked status.
Okay, good. So this might be something that org admin might be doing as they go along in setting up the process for the end users. It could be just a regular mistake, or I should not have given Wade that access at all. Let me just go in and remove it. So you do have the ability to change that, and that's the remove the functional role from that screen. Okay. We've actually removed the functional role. The status should have changed, but of course it takes a while. We're in UAT, so it would have changed to revoked. That's what we're actually looking for. So you see that revoked action there. That's what is going to come up on that user's screen. Okay, we have done that. We have done the revoked, and then we realize that this user wants to do some update to their profile. There are certain things you can touch here as an org admin. There are certain things we don't allow you to. Like anything in gray is grayed out, so you won't be able to go into those fields. You notice once you point to it, you get that little red circle and line in between. But you can change a person's title if you want to change that. And also, initially when you were setting up this user, you did not give them their RSA token information. now you can also do that. So if you click on yes, it's now required you put in that 9-digit RSA token serial number that's on the back of your current RSA fob. So you'll find it and you put that in. If the person wants their, okay, there's that number. The person wants their mobile phone number there, you can actually add that also. And their work number, if by some we just put in the wrong number there, they can go in and make changes to that screen. So those are some of the fields you can make changes to. And if it's not in the right format, you'll also get a message in red at the bottom saying it doesn't fit the format that it's looking for. So that's updating, and you want to make sure once that's done, once you update, you want to make sure you save that record. So did you want to say something here about the RSA token?
Yes, thank you, Wade. Just a few things here where you enter your RSA token. There is an email that is sent out to the org admins. So say when you first register and you enter your serial number during the registration, an email will be sent out to operations to associate that token to your account. But however, just like this user who did not enter their serial number, the org admin has the ability to enter it for them, and doing so every time a new functional role is assigned to this user, the org admin will receive an email requesting to provide the token serial number and send it to operations to associate. And a quick example I will share on this screen is the email that you would receive as an org admin here, asking you to provide your serial number with the user's information and their GMAP1 ID and GinnieNet ID. Another quick thing for you to note here is that you'll be able to deregister the Oracle Mobile Authenticator for any reason if the user is not able to do it themselves, which they do have the ability to. You can assist and deregister their account here. And this is used for the one-time PIN when you opt in instead of the email. That was it. Wade, you can continue. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And just to piggyback on that a little bit, it's org admins. It's very, very important that you pay attention to those emails, especially the RSA token ones, because if you initially had set up your RSA token for that user, we'll get that information straight so we can do the provision. But once you edit and go back in and add that token, the workflow doesn't follow the full steps. So the information is going to come to you, and you as the org admin need to follow the instructions and get that information to us at BNY Mellon so that user can be provisioned and they have access to do their submission, either being in RFS when they're doing their certification, or on GinnieNet or MFPDM when they're doing their pool submissions. Okay, now this is a common question that we used to get. I notice I said used to, because in the system now it's supposed to be self-service, or all of these administrative functions is now supposed to happen in the org admin space. And I'm talking about unlock or lock account. We do get it a lot, so I'll just try and give you some explanation here. A user can become automatically locked out of their account due to 3 failed password attempt, or if an org admin has manually locked the account via AMC. Locking a user's account is a temporary action and can be reverted. So right at the bottom there, you see the word lock. So we can actually, for instance, we can lock your account if we want to, because it could be that person has not been in for a while, or the person might be moving on to a different job, so we can do that lock. confirm that it's locked. And of course, we want to see that the status say user successfully locked. And of course, again, we are in the UAT, so it does take a while to change. And you notice you'll see that's the sign that tells you lock. You see that padlock there? That will give you the clue that it's locked. And if you point at it again to you, it says locked. So that user is currently locked. So let's see if we can go in and unlock that person. And of course you'll get that message when the user is trying to log in. Right now you see it says they're unlocked. So let's click on unlock so that person can get access to logging into MGM and continue to do their workflow. So again, those are some of the things that you're going to say, oh, let me call Wade's team. Yeah, Wade's team is going to say, uh-oh, we can't do this anymore. It's have to be your responsibility now to unlock your end users. If you had called us as a org admin, we are willing to help you on doing that. But we're going to defer those requests on your end users. It will be now your responsibility to do that. But you can always call us and say hi. We'll appreciate it any time. Okay. Now, another thing is going through disable and enable a user. A user account may become automatically disabled due to the 90 days of inactivity. Enable the account and advise the user to log into Gen within 24 hours once the account has been enabled. That's a real thing you want to make sure you tell your users. Not because we're going to enable your account. If you have not logged in, if the end user did not log in after that account has been enabled, it's going to go right back to the original status of disable again. So you just want to make sure you are aware of that. Or the account will often be disabled again. So of course you want to be sure that that doesn't happen. Org admin should manually disable a user account if the user has left the organization or the other organization-specific reasons, such as a change in role. Of course, that person does not use MGM anymore because they have moved on. You want to disable them from the system. And let's show. I'm sorry, Toy. I think I'm talking too much, so you're ahead of me. Disable. This user is disabled. We can go in and click on disable and disable the account. And Toyin, what happened here when the accounts are disabled? What happened to those functional roles?
So once a user is disabled, all the functional roles will go to the status where it'll be revoked, and so or missing. And if that happens, and somehow the user does come back to the organization, those functional roles will have to be re-requested.
Good, thank you, sir. So yes, that is true. You're gonna, when you go into that screen, you're gonna notice that the roles might say missing, and you'll have to re-request them, and then have to go through the function of being approved again, and then finalize, so that person can have full access. So you just want to keep in mind that. And again, enable, disable, all the responsibility of our new org admin to MGM, and you guys are going to have fun doing this, I'm sure. Okay, next one, enable. So that person now should have access. And of course, we always encourage, after 90 days, your account is going to get disabled if you're not if you're not logging in the account on a regular basis. And I think is on the 81st day, you start getting notices. So you want to also pay attention to those notices, because you're going to get a reminder your account is getting ready to be expired, or whatever they paraphrased in the actual notice. But I think it's on the 81st day you start getting notices in reference to that. Okay, so we have enabled that user, and now the next thing you have enabled the user, and now the user does not remember their password, and that is such a common occurrence as in my world, in terms of calls that we get sometimes. I don't remember my password, so we'll tell you what you can do here. And again, this is not something you'll call us for the end users. It will be strictly you taking care of them in your space. The service is used as an event that the user has forgotten their password and is unable to reset using the self-service capabilities, or they suspect their account has been compromised. So you can go in right where you see the word right up there. It says, or the tab, reset password. You're going to click on that, and what happens are you sure you want to reset a password? For a user, a new randomly generated password will be created and emailed to the user. So the user will have to look out for that password. It's not like in the GinnieNet space that the password is generated and you tell them what it is. In GMAP, the password is generated and you either copy it and send it to them via email. No, this password is going to be sent straight to their email and they would have to retrieve that password and put it in the new system and also generate a new one. So that's a little bit different. So this is all you're doing now. It's not us anymore at BNY Mellon as an org, as an ops admin. It's going to be your responsibility to reset the users if they could not do it through self-service. Password was reset successfully. Okay, so we have done some little managing activities there: reset password, unlock, enable, update profile. Now, we as org admin also have some other responsibilities, because you might want some reports on your end users. As Letitia had mentioned earlier, you go to link and then you choose security reports. On the security reports, you're going to go to where it says the catalog folder. And we're going to choose the administrative folder. And this one here, we're going to look at the MC functional role request history report. So that's one of the reports that we want you to look at. And of course, this is where you have all the other reports if you want. So we're just going to check on that. And as Toya is pointing to open, so let's click on open. And it's processing. So this is a report that comes up and show you information on your actual users. Toya, do you want to explain this a little bit more than I can? I know I might miss something.
Sure, Wade. So once you select the report you want to see, the system will generate, and here you will have a layout with the different columns with different information. So you see you have your require ID, user login, role name, role type, and you can filter this report based on the column. So if you click here on the drop-down, you can select a specific user, or you can select in ascending or descending order based on how you want to see your report. And this goes same for, say, the approver, or the date, or whichever column you would like. Now, you also have the option to export this report into PDF or Excel. Now, do note when you do export to Excel, the report will not generate the way you would see it after you sort or filter on your screen. You will have to do the filtration on Excel. And the way you would do it is by clicking here, where you have different options such as PDF, HTML, or Excel, like I mentioned. Wait.
Okay. Thank you. And there's one more report we want to show you, so you can get an idea what. And this is how to create an active user account report. So now when we're going to go to the Oracle, we're going to click on where it says Home Org, Home Organization User Lists by Org Admin View. We're going to open those. We're just giving you an idea what some of the reports are. So this one kind of give you all the users that are actually enrolled in your home org and Toid.
So here, like I mentioned earlier, you will have the option to say you want to only see the active users. You can just select active. I'm sorry, let me do that again. So for the status, you can select here that you only want to see active users. So you can select active and click OK. So this report will only show the active users. And the same applies if you want to see the disabled users. So here you'll see the list, and every single person here is disabled.
And what about if you're in the section that says org admin? If you want to know anybody who's org admin, what is that the same thing by yes or no?
Yes, so it's the same option. So the reason you see no here is because there is no other org admin, which is why only no is available. But if there was, that is, again, you have to note that only the disabled users. So there is another org admin, but that person is not disabled. That is why you're not seeing it here. So say if we were to go back to selecting all active and disabled, and then going back to the org admin, you now will have yes or no option.
Cool. Okay. So just want to, again, as the org admin, just want to, you have the ability to go in and print some of your report. Maybe you might even be able to customize them just to suit your needs. Of course, we have some of the reports. Home org user lists report, that's a custom report. You have user profile history, that's a standard report. User registration request history, that's a custom report. So you can go in and print accordingly, because some of them might be, because of auditing purposes, sometimes auditors want to know who are the ones who are logged in, or the ones who got messed up with their passwords. So you can have different reports to suit your internal company's need. So I think that was our little journey. I hope it wasn't too bumpy. I hope you were able to. I think we navigated okay. We just might have missed a couple of stoplights there, but I think we got through okay. So.
All right, Letitia, I think that wraps up the video portion. We can jump back to the deck.
Perfect. That would be great. Thank you, Ian. So I do want to acknowledge those two lovely voices on our demonstration video. That was Wade Gale and Tawhid Ali of the Bank of New York Mellon. They have been conducting these demonstrations for us throughout training. But because the content is so very similar from wave to wave regarding that information, we went ahead and played that recording. I do want to acknowledge that they are both with us right now. And when we get to the question and answer portion, they're happy to answer any questions for you. Up next, a little bit about where you can go to get some additional help. You will have heard Wade say in that demonstration that when it comes to actually conducting these activities on behalf of end users, it is now the responsibility of you, the organization administrator. I will note that, if you need assistance on how to complete these actions, you are not on your own. We have several resources posted on the modernization page of the GinnieMae website, including the presentation from today. So if you go to GinnieMae.gov and hover over issuers, there's an issuer training tab, and underneath that you'll find modernization. All of the training decks, the recordings, the quick reference cards, all posted there, and the user manuals. The one that you should be using as your Bible as a organization administrator is the Access Management Console user manual. It is posted there for you. We are in the process of making some updates to add additional information as we continue to add functionality in the portal. Those resources will be updated for you. You're welcome to join our Thursday weekly listening sessions. I will note that tomorrow is the last session that we'll be hosting in the month of April, because when we have pre-scheduled training events, we are not hosting those listening sessions. And next week we will be hosting MFPDM training, and then we will begin our Wave 4 training events, and those are also happening on Thursdays. So we'll have a session this Thursday, April 9th, and then our next session will be May 7th, but we will be hosting those sessions throughout May as well. They're kind of our office hours, and you're welcome to dial in and ask us any questions. We also provide latest updates on things that are happening in the portal. You're welcome to join us then. If you have questions about how to conduct any of these functions that we discussed today, you are welcome as an organization administrator to contact GinnieMae customer support at the Bank of New York Mellon on behalf of GinnieMae. They are happy to walk you through how to complete those steps. They cannot, however, complete them for you. So do note that when you contact the GinnieMae customer support team, they will do everything that they can within their power to get you the information and assistance that you need, but they will not be able to take these actions on your behalf, okay? If you have some general questions about how to access any of these tools, if you have general questions about the portal or our onboarding and training efforts, you're welcome to contact the customer experience group at cxg@hud.gov, and we can answer your questions that way as well. Next slide. Okay.
I think it goes into the appendix.
Yep, no, we don't need to get into the appendix. There's
Okay.
just some additional information for the folks that are accessing this presentation via our website. Before we jump into the question and answer portion, as I mentioned, I've got several experts on MyGinnieMae portal available to answer your questions. But before we jump into that, I would like to ask Ian Post, who is leading our presentation today, can you please launch the feedback survey? If you check your chat box, Ian has posted a link in the chat box so that you can give us some feedback on how we're doing with our training events and specifically with today's event. So please, before you go, make sure that you leave us some feedback so that we know how we might improve and what additional information you might be looking for. Now, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and open the line for Q&A, for question and answer. If you joined today's session using the audio on your computer, if you go to the bottom of the screen, there is an icon for you to raise your hand. When you raise your hand, it indicates for us that we should unmute your line so you can ask a question. So we're happy to do that. But if you joined today's audio using a phone, you're going to have to hit *9, and that will indicate for us that you would like to ask a question, okay? So please right now drop down to the bottom of the screen and raise your hand, or select *9 from your phone to let us know what your questions are.
No questions right now.
Okay. As I mentioned, we do have a weekly listening session that will be happening on Thursday, tomorrow. So after we've gone over today's content, if you want to go back into MyGinnieMae, if you're an organization administrator, and into the Access Management Console, play around with some of the reports and the functions that we just covered. If you have questions, 2 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow is when you can find us again in order to join that weekly listening session. Please go to the modernization page. The call details are posted there so that you can join us on tomorrow's call as well. So again, I'm going to pause for just a moment. It's *9 if you joined us on your audio on phone today, or at the bottom of your screen, you can raise your hand if you joined the audio via the computer. So I'll pause for just another moment to see if anyone has a question. It doesn't have to be about the content we specifically covered in today's presentation. If there's another question out there that you're wanting to ask, we're happy to lend our expertise where we can. So I'll pause now for additional questions.
Nothing else coming through.
Okay. Well, without further ado, I will go ahead and let us break for the afternoon. I hope everyone is healthy and safe. And I look forward to chatting with you again and answering any questions that you have on your journey through MyGinnieMae. Thank you.